Okay, these questions talk about pollutant X, and students are supposed to draw this graph. And in this question, it mentioned that pollutant X, okay, is found in the smoke released from the factory. Explain how smoke can harm crops. Okay, this question, if you do not know about acid rain, you may not be able to answer. So it's actually quite interesting to find out what acid rain is. And now I'm going to show you a video clip produced by National Geographic about acid rain. It's a very concise video I find very interesting, only about 1 minute 58 seconds. So I like to share with you so you can sit back and relax about what is acid rain by National Geographic. So this is the video. I will show you shortly. Replay. Go.
What is acid rain? Acid rain is any form of precipitation with high levels of nitric and sulfuric acids.
Okay, the word precipitation, to recall, is something that falls from the sky. It can be in liquid form, which is rain, and can be in solid form as snow, sleet, and hail.
It can occur in the form of snow, fog, and even dry materials that settle to Earth. Most acid rain is caused by human activities. When people burn fossil fuels, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are released into the atmosphere. These gases react with water, oxygen, and other substances to form sulfuric and nitric acid. Winds may spread these acidic solutions over hundreds of miles.
Okay, notice this part, right? Okay, as this harmful gases being released, right, because of the wind and the wind direction, they can spread to other so-called innocent territory. That means those people who are perhaps not in this country or maybe in another province of this country, they get affected, because of the wind speed and wind direction.
After it falls to Earth, acid rain enters water systems as runoff and sinks into the ground.
Okay, as you know, acid has a property to dissolve substances, right? So actually this acid rain, they will penetrate into the soil. The soil actually has good nutrients, but it's being dissolved by this acid rain, and therefore the trees or plants will not be able to absorb the essential nutrients, so they die.
This can make water toxic to crayfish, clams, fish, and other aquatic animals.
Okay, similarly, the aquatic animals, they suffer, they die because they are not so-called being wired to survive in acidic water. Although there are some organisms that can live in acidic solutions, but most do not. They live in so-called salt water, but with very low acidity.
The rest of the food chain, including non-aquatic species such as birds, is often affected as well.
Okay, this relates another topic on food chain and food web. Okay, we notice in one of the questions at the end of the worksheet, talk about this organism D has more so-called poisonous substance in its body than the other two. Because the apex predator, right? Imagine this bird is being eaten by a bird of prey. The poison that lodged inside this body, right, will be being transferred to the predator. So it affects the food chain.
Acid rain also harms forests by damaging trees' leaves, robbing the soil of essential nutrients, and making it hard for trees to take up water. By designing cleaner power plants and using fewer fossil fuels, we can reduce the number of pollutants that create acid rain.
So you can see the main culprit for formation of acid rain is harmful gases being released into the atmosphere, and they react with rainwater to form the acidic solution. So we come back to the questions here, this part. So in order to answer this question, you must understand how acid rain is formed. So for this question, right, you say when the smoke dissolves in rainwater, acid rain is formed. Acid rain causes the crops to die. Okay. Okay, let's go on to the next question. If you need this. Okay. Okay, before that, I will pause for a while. Just for a while. Okay, as you see in this question, we talk about the Gobi Desert, which I short form it as GB. Okay, the Gobi Desert is expanding due to human activities such as deforestation. So I ask you this question: where is the Gobi Desert? How big is it? Is it growing or shrinking in size? So may this video enlighten you as you approach these three interesting questions. The Gobi Desert, how big it is?
1,300,000 square kilometers. The Gobi Desert is the second largest desert in Asia, after the Arabian Desert, and the sixth largest in the world. It is nearly the size of Peru or Chad, or 2 times the size of France. The desert measures over 1,600 kilometers in length and nearly 800 kilometers wide.
So this is the size, 1,800 kilometers in length and 800 kilometers wide. So it's the size of 2 France.
At its widest point. The Gobi Desert Basin lies across southern Mongolia and northwestern China, between the Mongolian Altai and Khangai Mountains and the Himalayan Plateau. The Gobi is a rain shadow desert, formed by the Himalayan mountains, which blocks the rain-causing monsoon winds from the Indian Ocean from reaching the area. Most of the Gobi Desert ground surface is not sandy, but rather bare rock. Only 5% of the desert is covered by sand, while the rest is covered by sedimentary rocks or dry grasslands. The Gobi Desert is one of the least densely populated regions.
Least densely populated means has the least number of people living there. Because they say maybe in a few square kilometers, you can only find 1 person.
Region of the world, with only 3 persons per square mile, or 1 person per square kilometer. The Gobi Desert is actually growing in size.
So you see, you found one answer, right? It's actually growing in size.
Every year the desert is expanding nearly 3,600 square kilometers.
So actually every year it increases. 36,000 square kilometers is 5 times the size of Singapore. Every year, you have 5 Singapore being enlarged in the Gobi Desert. So we try to understand why is that so.
Seriously threatening local inhabitants' livelihoods, due to which the Chinese government has launched the Great Green Wall of China.
Okay, you will see the Gobi Desert is actually this area here. You will see the line they're going to draw, like this part. This is the perimeter of the Gobi Desert. So the China government is afraid that the Gobi Desert will swallow up China. So what they did is they built this Great Green Wall. They plant a lot of forested areas here so that will retreat, will block this desert from expanding. And let's see how they do it.
In 1978, a reforestation project to plant.
Okay, you can see here the border, right? So this is the Gobi Desert, the perimeter, and this is how the China government they grow their crops or plant forested areas here.
Project to plant trees to hold back the expansion of the Gobi Desert. Gobi Desert was in the route of the Great Ancient Silk Road. Many cities were located in the various regions of Gobi Desert. Gobi Desert is also the place where scientists first found dinosaurs.
Interestingly, right, they found dinosaur eggs. Okay, because you know the desert area is dry, right? So it's easy to preserve the eggs, the dinosaur eggs. Okay, dinosaurs are reptiles. They reproduce by laying eggs.
Eggs, when American researcher Roy Chapman Andrews discovered dinosaur egg nests in the region of.
So you can Google this part, the Flaming Hills Cliff. Okay, Flaming Cliffs in China. Flaming Cliffs.
Flaming Cliffs in 1923.
Interesting. So let's go back to the question here. So we have answered this. How big? 1,600 kilometers across, 800 kilometers wide, is growing in size. So the question is, suggest how the loss of farmland will affect man. Because the desert is growing because they say it's a rain shadow area, right? Because the Himalayan mountains block the moisture from going into the area. So the Gobi Desert is perpetually dry. So they don't even have enough water vapor to start a water cycle. So that's why the area is perpetually dry and it's not suitable for growing crop. So there'll be less land for growing crop, and this will lead to food shortages. Okay. Or how it increase. Okay. Usually, as you see, the area, right, because more and more areas, right, may not receive the rain. So those places which maybe have some vegetation, sooner they won't have enough water. Yeah. And also due to the wind, right, you heard of they call the sandstorm. So during certain sandstorm, the sand may cover up more areas. Yeah. Okay, next, planting large number of trees. This is what the Chinese government is doing to help to reduce the expansion of the desert. Suggest two reasons. Okay, so you see when they plant something, right, they can start the water cycle. Okay, can you see? With more trees, there will be less soil erosion because the roots hold onto the soil, number one. This is point number one. And number two is the trees help to regulate the water cycle by releasing more water vapor in the air. Yeah. So there are two reasons. So actually, for those students who haven't learned this, this is a very good questions to understand how planting trees can reduce the expansion of desert. Yeah. Okay, thirdly, suggest another way of reducing the expansion of desert so you can reduce deforestation. That's means instead of cutting, let's say 1,000 trees a year, maybe you cut 100. Okay, reduce deforestation. Okay. So we take a short break now. After that, we come back to see some of the interesting buildings in Singapore where they call the vertical garden. Okay, the vertical garden. So this question I screenshot and send to every one of you. And then we'll take a short break. And during the short break, your request to talk to each other, right? So I'll open up the dialog box for you to share. So we'll see you later. We take a 10 minutes break and I will pause the recording soon.